I'll ask you a question now. Which game is your favorite? And when do you think the Touhou Golden Age started and finished? Comment below. Anyways, back with another commentary video talking about Touhou. And I wanted to talk about this topic that I just mentioned before, and it's the Touhou Golden Age. And another thing I want to talk about is which title deserves to be called a masterpiece. But first, before talking about the Golden Age, I want to talk about the experimental age, and obviously I think PC 98 is the experimental age, to be honest. And you see Zun and his fellow team members. If I remember correctly, like Zun didn't do everything in that in those PC 98 games. He had a team, actually. It was Team Shangri-La Alice for real. Yeah. And you see Touhou 1. Touhou 1 isn't really a Danmaku. You don't really see the shmup in it. There are some shmup elements. You see the dodging of bullets, and you see the breakers influence. I still don't know what breakers. I think breakers is the one where you move a plate and bounce the ball, and the ball hits the things, the bricks. Which I had tons of fun when I was a kid back in the day. I don't know where and when did I used to play it, but I have a vague memory of it, of playing it. And Touhou 1 is a fun game. Touhou 1 is like good to go back and look at and see how evolved Zun has become. You look at Touhou 2, and Touhou 2 is like the deciding game. You look at the genre that Zun has chose to set his foot in, which is shmups. Since he is actually a fan of shmups, he likes I don't know which one is his favorite, I forgot, but he plays tons of games. Like, I know he obviously plays the cave games. There's the cave influence, there's even a Gradius influence in Touhou 10 with the Marisa A tracing. There are tons of examples. You can see lots of influences, and if you go to the Shmup Wiki, Touhou 10 or Touhou 12's page, you could find some trivia and references to shmups that Zun really likes. Like, for example, one example I want to, just not to stay on this tangent for a long time, there's this show spell, the first spell, it's called Radiant Treasure Gun, and there's a game on the Sega Saturn called Radiant Silver Gun. Cool reference, to be honest. Anyways, back to Touhou 2. In Touhou 2, I haven't played much. I'd say like it's very primitive in how it's designed. That's how I feel about it. You look, and then you go into Touhou 3, and what I noticed about Touhou 3, first of all, and I have never, like, I only tried Twinkle Star Sprites a bit, but I've seen it mentioned, and I can safely say it's a Twinkle Star Sprites clone, but it's tons of fun. It's really cool, like, cool multiplayer game. I can see why. I know someone who really loves the game. He really likes it, and I can understand why. For me, I think it's a cool game, but I like Touhou 9 better. For like, Touhou 9 just resonates with me, except for the how shiny the familiars are, like the the spirits, I mean, because they hurt my eyes when I play for a really long time. I close my eyes and like I see the spirits flying down. It's horrible. I don't want to play Touhou 9 for a really long time, but I love it. And there's this, I'd say, small divide between Touhou 1 to 3, and then Touhou 4 and 5. Even though they're all PC 98 and all connected, you see this sort polish in Touhou 4, even though there are some jank stuff, but it's alright. It's like the arcade mentality. You gotta, impossible patterns you cannot do, you bomb them, okay? You gotta bomb them. Don't try your luck. Anyways, there's even Touhou 5, and I think Touhou 5 is the most polished out of the PC98 games, I'd say. I wouldn't say it's a Windows game, no. That would be a disservice, because the fact that it's on PC98 is such a... It's really inspiring. It's cool. I love that it's on the PC98. Mystic Square, yes, Touhou 5 is my favorite from the PC98 era. And overall, this is like encompasses the experimental age, and you can see the end of the experimental age during Touhou 5. You look at it and it's like, yep, Zon learned from his mistakes. He learned how to polish his games. You see some good stuff, some fun patterns, and I'd say a well-designed scoring system. I like the scoring system. I know it's like gotta no miss, no bombs. Come on, it's cool. I like the scoring system. It's pretty simple, but that's because it's a doujin game. We can give, like, honestly, I'd give PC98 some leeway, even if it's as horrible as something like Touhou 19 or 17, but that's not the case. The PC98, when I played it, was more refreshing. It was such a refreshing experience. Now, when do I think the Touhou Golden Age started? And when did it end? I think, and I have asked this question in a server I'm active in, Moria Shrine, and I've seen someone say PC98 is the Golden Age. He didn't clarify. Another user said Touhou 6, 7, and 8 is the Golden Age. It's this pretty satisfying trilogy, quote and unquote. And I agree with him to an extent. It's interesting. Like you see Touhou 6, and Touhou 6 has okay, wait, let me continue the Moria Shrine discussion. And someone else said Touhou 10, 11, and 12, not 13 included. And Touhou 10 to 12, that's a good pick. Like Touhou 6 to 8, that's a great pick. Touhou 10 to 12, that's a great pick too. Touhou 10, 11, 12, you can see some jank in it, like in Touhou 10, like he refurbished the engine of Touhou, and later on you see him polish it more and more into Touhou 12. It's like the limit of like Touhou 12, the very amazing, fantastic design. Haha, fantastic pun, not intended. And also I agree with that too. But what if I told you that the Golden Age starts in from Touhou 6, Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, till 12.8. Which one is 12.8? So we don't get confused. It's Great Fairy Wars. It's the one where Cerno kicks everyone's ass. It's a pretty fun game. Go ahead and play it. It's pretty cool. It's peak. It's peak fiction. So Touhou 6, to explain, Touhou 6 is like Zon just took a break from Touhou 5 to 6, but Touhou 6 has some PC98 elements. Whether you agree or disagree, you can see the leftovers of the PC98 era, but in Windows. But other than that, Touhou 6 has the polarizing. I wouldn't say polarizing. I don't even know what polarizing means. I just use words and I look at their shape and use them for as definitions. As words in my sentences. But Touhou 6 has this pretty interesting rank system, and this rank system, it's on higher difficulty on lunatic. Lunatic is like the most interesting difficulty. You see rank system, and if you know how to super graze, you're gonna skyrocket to rank 32 before stage 2. Not super graze, like even normally graze, you're gonna hit rank 32, which is the max rank before stage 2, like easy peasy. And you got like the fundamentals, like there's no hurt box display, you got, which is from an element from PC98. You got the bullet cancels at the end, like when you if you've ever cancelled Rumia's final spell card, and you get just this big huge amount of score. You see like all numbers on your screen, and you hit the first extend if you know how to do the stall trick. You bullet cancel at the right time. You do that in touhou 4 too, in stage 1 final pattern. And what else? I am not sure if touhou 4 and 5 have rank. I think there was rank system, but touhou 6's rank system is just much more apparent. It's like, yeah, if you're okay, here's an example. Try this out. Try Cyrano non 1 on normal, any rank, and then put it on rank 32 and look at the difference. Much more bullets. I just went on a really long tangent, but it's okay, whatever. Anyways, I like touhou 6. touhou 6 is my favorite, actually. touhou 6 is number one for me. I love touhou 6 a lot. You look at touhou 7, and touhou 7 is, despite the easiness, despite the quality of life that was added, still deep scoring system and a deep main gimmick. Added characters. You see the content that Zun adds, like he just relentlessly keeps adding content on and on, like piling it up. Especially when you see the differences between the touhou 6 and 7's shots. Like Reimu and Marisa's shots were carried over to touhou 7, but improved upon to fit touhou 7. Compare them, do it yourself. Like look at it, look at the shot types, compare them. It's like you can see some similarities. You can see where Zun improved the shot type, where he nerfed the shot types, maybe buffed it here and there. And then we move to touhou 8. touhou 8 is the pinnacle of the Gen 1 Windows. You see lots of content. You see everyone is here. Smash Ultimate, like okay, not Lane and 4 type of everyone is here, just like it's in a smart way, like everyone is here. You look at the not everyone really, just just using that Smash Ultimate meme, but you see the 4 teams you can choose from. Each team has a duo, Reimu, Yukari, Marisa, Alice, etc., etc. You got like 8 characters that are playable. You can unlock them solo, and you got pretty interesting stage design, and like this is the most unique touhou has ever been. Like Zun just keeps creating these interesting gimmicks, interesting play, like shmups. He's not really doing a touhou. In touhou 8 it's like a different game, completely different game, with the familiar system and the bullet cancelling and the yokai meter. That's like, come on, like, don't tell me it's a yeah, obviously it's a touhou game, but I think like it's much above that than the typical touhou game. Not to bring down other touhou games, that is. And then people would say, okay, that's a controversial take, I did mention it, but touhou 9 is a cool game. It's frustrating at first. People hate it because, Shiki, is Yamazana to like Eiki, she's pretty tough, she's unforgiving, ruthless, but Zun knew that she's ruthless, so he didn't put a bad ending into the game. You should be thankful about that. Yeah. Um, no bad ending in Touhou 9. That's a smart decision. People just want to grind, unlock all the characters. I know the grind is too long. I hated the grind to unlock all of the characters. And then you got the extra stage. Extra stage is pretty hectic, chaotic. Just like it's like you're playing lunatic, but you gotta not get hit. What else? But yeah, in terms of like multiplayer game between the three games, Touhou is my favorite. Honestly, I really like it. I like the chaining in it. I like how it works. It's like its own thing. It's not a Twinkle Star Sprites clone. But correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if there is like an influence in from Twinkle Star Sprite. I'm sure like the chaining is influenced, but in Touhou 3 you can see the influence much more. It's like more apparent with the colors changing every time you hit the enemies once or twice to start the chain. And then you see Zun move into a new generation, and the amount of refurbish he put into the new engine, it kinda backfired a bit because Touhou 10 is kinda jank, but the way he soft reset the game, the whole lore, and you see how it's like Touhou 6, but a bit different. Not a bit different, like totally different. Like people say, oh yeah, Touhou 10 is the spiritual successor of Touhou 6, but that's not true. I don't think that's a true statement in my opinion, because the scoring system and the way the game works, just it's completely different. It's just that Zun just went back to fundamentals, in my opinion. And what do I mean by back to fundamentals? Like bare bone, no sort of gimmick, like main wild card or gimmick, like Touhou 12 or maybe Touhou 7 with the borders, and Touhou 8 with the familiars, bullet cancelling, and all of that shenanigan. And the only thing, and it's pretty minor, honestly, I think it's like I don't know if you're gonna agree with me or not, but I don't really care. But the power bombing, I think it's a smart idea. I think using some of your power to bomb is super fucking smart, and it kind of like you gotta sacrifice some of your power, some of your damage, to save yourself from a bad situation. While on stages, it's like you can refund your items, like you can refund your power real quick. I think during bosses, it's pretty unforgiving. You gotta like Hina, stage 2 boss, gives you 0.30 power. That's like not a full refund of the bomb. It's like 30% refund of your bomb, which is finishing the second spell doesn't really give you items. Like Zon thought about it, like, oh, you're gonna spam bomb? No, I'm not gonna let you. So yeah, you see some thought put into that. You see the pattern that I'm giving you. Like there's lots of thought put into the design of the game. From Touhou 6 to Touhou 12, you can see it. It's apparent, whether you can see it or not. Like whether like I think casuals tend to not really notice the genius design that Sun implements into these games. But if someone like you gotta handhold the casuals, but try to changing their mind, but to each their own. Like I'm not gonna like force someone to say, hey, you should like UFO, or you suck, you smell. No, it's dumb. That's dumb. If you hate UFO, I don't care. Hate UFO. But I'm giving you the chance to open your mind a bit and look at the bright side of the game. Like, oh, look how genius it is, look how impressive it is when someone does it, like someone perfects the mechanic and all. Okay, so Touhou 10, where were we? The scoring system. Zun, you know, I'll get out of Zun is gonna be like, I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone. Graze is an essential part of Touhou, of the scoring system. Or, you know, in Touhou 11 you got a graze to collect all of the items on screen and you to increase the multipliers of the score, but that's a topic for later. And you see, Touhou 10 removed graze. Only the effect occurs. You see the effect, it's like visual only, visual grazing. And there is no sort of effect on score when you graze. Nothing really happens. And that was super daring from Zun. That was such a risky move, but Zun pulled out, because that scoring system is, it's awesome. I love Touhou 10's scoring system with the faith in the bottom left and collecting the green items, chaining the items. And the hint system, I don't know if it's intended, like there was some intention put into it, like good intentions to make scoring much easier. You see these score runs, people use these hint systems, like manually putting these text on screen to know the area of POC. That's smart. Zun knew, like, he's like, nobody really notices, not many people appreciate the type of good intention that Zun puts into these early games. Yeah. Anyways, moving onto Touhou 11. You got Touhou 11. Touhou 11 is just, and I want to make a video about Touhou 10 and 11 similarities, and I can see lots of similarities. It's like this. Okay, no, not giving the thesis statement to that video. I'm gonna make it later. It's like, it's gonna be, the title is gonna be similarities between Touhou 10 and 11. That's all. And you see Touhou 11. It has the same items as Touhou 10. It evolves upon what Touhou 10 has, and you got the scoring system, which grazing is back, and it's also good for survival because you collect items on screen when you fill up the communication meter on the bottom left, and it's like a pretty fresh mechanic. And also, it doesn't. This is like the first time where extends aren't really inherently related to score in a way. And the way you get extends is that you have to survive the boss's pattern, and you get a life piece, and every 5 life pieces you get a 1-up, which is smart. I think it's pretty smart. It's even and to add to that, the power bombing is still there, and Zun doesn't really give you a free bomb, because in Touhou 10 you get 5 power, 5.00, and the first bomb you use is free. That doesn't sacrifice so much for your power. But in Touhou 11 gets real. The game is hard, and you got 4.00 power. You got like 4 options only, and you gotta use one of your options out, like to bomb, and sacrifice some of your damage, a big portion of it. Which, yes, that's a smart decision. That's cool. I think like, oh, you're gonna spam bomb if you had a bomb quantity, you know, like in past Touhous. You're not gonna spam bomb to survive those patterns, get a life piece. Like the design of the game just synergizes together. It synergizes together to make this fantastic, challenging, cool game to get into. And I never mentioned, like, overall I think Touhou 6 too. Okay, Touhou 6 presentation is okay, it's cool. It's like one of those, these joke, like funny enemies like Dokuro or the old 90s 80s anime that's like, it's a joke, like everything is it's the gag anime, like the this happens, this incident happens for the heck of it. That's how I felt about PC 98 and Touhou 6. That's what I meant by Touhou 6 having some leftovers from PC 98. They kind of dumb but funny lore and story. And you can notice that because Touhou 6 is the only Western themed Touhou. You got vampires, you got librarians, you got a mansion, a whole huge mansion. The Scarlet Devil mansion, that is. And you see Touhou 7 and 8 and 9 have good stories. Touhou 10 has a great, fantastic stories, and it kind of leans into the God and faith and war stuff. And Touhou 11's presentation is top-notch. That's all I can say. It's top-notch. The moment you set foot into stage 1, that's it. You're engulfed into this amazing subterranean environment, this melancholic, dark, themed, dark area of the Touhou universe, the Ginsokyo. Like if you felt something when you heard like the dark blowhole theme, the stage 1 theme, like, tell me, because comment about it, because I felt that surprised me, like, that shocked me, like, that the contrast between Touhou 10 and 11 is big and interesting. And then we move into Touhou 12, and Touhou 12 is no need to speak. You know what I think about Touhou 12? Touhou 12 is amazing. It's nothing like peak fiction. One of my favorite characters is Byakuren, because her lore is cool. I think her lore is like, I want to make peace, and you see the protagonist is morally gray. You get into the final boss and you think, oh, who's this evil overlord they're trying to resurrect? It's like, no, she's the moral one. And you're trying to stop her moral cause. Other than that, you got the amazing gimmick, the UFO gimmick that some people hate, but I love the UFO gimmick. I love it. I've spoken about this in the past video. Why is the scoring, like, why is the UFO system so good? To give you, to ease it for you, I don't want to yap a lot about it, but watch a score run of Touhou 12. Please, KG the GOAT, go watch him. Go look at how he's scoring. Look how he's using everything in his arsenal, in like all of these UFO techniques. You're gonna love this game. You're gonna most probably love this game when you see a scoring run. You're gonna use these techniques too for survival, just like me during the hard 1cc. Just go watch a scoring run. Please do, and I'm gonna try and link it in the description. And and even the spin-offs in between. 7.5, I haven't played 7.5. 9.5, I haven't finished, but it's cool. It's okay. It's like you smash your head against the wall until you get it, but there's like some strategizing into it. And 10.5, I haven't played 10.5 specifically, but I have played 12.3 online. He's on Tensaku. I've played it, it's pretty fun. I'm not a story mode type of guy when it comes to fighting games, I'm sorry. I don't really play fighting games for the story. I want to play online, I want to have fun with friends. And he got 12.5, I haven't played it yet, but I've seen a bit of gameplay, it seems cool. 12.8, the last one. This is the end of the golden age era of Touhou, in my opinion. And there's this transitional period from touhou 12 to touhou 13 in between. Everyone says that, oh, touhou 13 is the first one that did this and that. No, it's touhou 12.5, 12.8, I mean. And like, you see the ring around the boss, like their health bar, touhou 12.8 did it. You see like continuous coming back, like the because in touhou 10 to 12, when you continue, you restart the stage, but they brought it back in touhou 12.8, which is like you continue and continue from where you died, not from the beginning of the stage. And other stuff too, you can find that. And 12.8's design, and you see the button layout. You got the shoot, bomb, and auto, full auto. And this is like the first touhou game that uses the C button, and it's mapped in such a way. I think, yeah, the shift is still there, like the focus button is still there. It slows you down, but this game is inherently an arcade layout. Like, you see these arcade shmups like Mushihime-sama, Dai-Ojo, Galuda. You have shoot, you hold shoot, it slows you down. Bomb, and then you got full auto doesn't slow you down. And touhou's 12.8 kind of has that layout, and it was kind of like had that arcade spirit in it, in a way. I don't know, this sounds stupid, because when you hold shoot, you don't really shoot, you charge up a freeze and slow down. And touhou 12.8 doesn't give you bombs at the beginning, and I think that's a smart decision. You know why? Because you get tons of extents if you know how to freeze and you know your routes. As long as you keep freezing over and over and over, you're gonna get extend. And the fact that bombs are limited to 3 bombs is pretty fucking smart. I think it's super genius. Why? Because if you keep dying, you get some charge into your bombs, you know. And like, if you don't use these bombs, you're gonna miss out on that like penalty, like the reward for dying. Like, if you die, like, it's mandatory to use these bombs. If you hit 3 bombs, you gotta use 1, because you want to charge the next bomb. In such a way, Zan thought, yeah, the character is gonna have tons of extends, and I don't want the player to stack up on bombs and just keep spam bombing if he's like on the last life and he's made some mistakes. No, I want these mistakes to be punishing. I want to, you know, waste, like, overflow some of his bomb resources. If you understand that, like, waste some of the rewards you get for dying, and like compensation. Yeah, that's the word, compensation. And overall, like, the patterns are designed around the freeze system. Every pattern can be possible without freezing. There is a gold medal for it. You can get a gold medal if you capture a spell card without freeze or bomb. But everything is just designed around the freeze system, and the game is telling you, freeze the bullets around you. Know how to time your freezes. And it's this dopamine addictive, like, big, huge, satisfying feedback you get from freezing tons of bullets on screen. Like, orgasm after you freeze tons of bullets on screen. And hard difficulty and lunatic difficulty, having revenge bullets from fairies is kind of unifies the, differentiates the difficulties a bit. Like, oh, it's harder, but we're gonna give you some leeway. If you graze these bullets, revenge bullets, and be wary of them, you're gonna charge up your freeze again and again and again. And it's gonna give you this feedback again and again and again, and it's gonna be this ultimate goon session. Damn it. Fuck me. Anyways. Now, then you see, onto the next DM, touhou 13. Suddenly, you notice some flaws in the system. You notice some missing pieces to the puzzle. touhou 13. For example, like, the trans system is cool, but it would have been cooler if you could use it at an earlier meter. Like, it's divided into 3 meters. If there is like 1 meter and you can use it, but it's much less in duration, it'd be cool. And especially like the stage design is too boring and slow early on, and all of these bullets that prevent you from POCing. Like, what's the point of collection now if I can't POC most of the time? If I'm afraid of point of like hitting the POC, I know it's gonna be risky, but you know what else that isn't like you know what else is there up in the POC? It's the spirits you gotta collect for trans. That doesn't happen in UFO. In UFO, the UFOs move at a specific path, a consistent path, depending on the timing of the enemy you defeat, like the enemy that contains the UFO. So it's just kind of weird with touhou 13. Don't like, not to mistake that I hate touhou 13. I love it. I think it's decent. It gets exciting around stage 4. That's it. And touhou 14 is cool. I think touhou 14 is an exception. Keep touhou 14 out. I know there is jank in touhou 14, but we ignore that. touhou 14 is cool. It's in the cool kids club. And then suddenly in touhou 15, that first demo, that was smart. I think Zan, again, going back to fundamentals, but there is now slow grazing, and the bullets are hard. They're like the way he designed the difficulty, it's pretty difficult. And he got a score extend and a chapter system. Like, wow, chapter system? What's that? And he got the point device mode, but we ignore point device mode. We only talk about legacies for the cool kids club. And legacy, you see, it had a score extend in the first demo, and the chapter bonus would give you bomb pieces instead, and you gotta have 5 bomb pieces to get 1 bomb, which is smart. You know why? Because bombs aren't as valuable as lives. Lives are super valuable, and that's the mistake that Zan did in the final version. I'm gonna talk about it later, but in a way, the game, early touhou 15 was designed in a ways like that, like, oh, we're gonna reward you with score extends since you are grazing, and in addition, if you get the chapter bonus, we're gonna give you a bomb piece. You deserve it. We're gonna give you some bombs. And it's not like you're gonna frequently get bombs. Maybe you're gonna stack up some bombs for Ringo. You hate Ringo. Everyone hates Ringo. You're gonna stack up bombs for Ringo, and you're gonna have like 3 to 4 lives from the extent, you know, if you know how to score. And that would have been smart. That would have been cool, you know? To be honest, that would have been cool. Like planning out your bombs. That would have been fine. It would have been a touhou 12 Sanai B moment where you strategize and get tons of bombs. And then you see the second demo, and I've seen Jimers talk about it in his description. Second demo changes the chapter bonus from bomb pieces to life pieces, which was questionable. 5 life pieces equals 1 extend, and people complained that, oh wow, you could, not people complained, I don't know who complained, like I think some complained that that you stack up lives before Doremi, before stage 3. That's kind of ridiculous, I think. That's not, like, that doesn't happen in other games, I think. Like, maybe Touhou 11, but Touhou 11 rewards you for being good. In Touhou 15, you can, like, if you're out of bombs, you can suicide and super graze some patterns that you weren't supposed to get a chapter bonus in unless you put more effort. That's weird. It's kind of counterintuitive. And then in the full version, he doubles down, and now you require 3 life pieces to get an extend. Now your life count stacks becomes full stack before Ringo, if you know how to graze. That's dumb. I think that's dumb. Like, that's just completely dumb. There is no challenge in this game. The contrast between how difficult the patterns are and how generous the resource system is and forgiving. It's just, it irks me. It's weird. That's not a bullet hell game. And you got like Touhou 16, 17, 18, and 19. Touhou 16 is decent to an extent, and I don't want to like explain every Touhou entry, but because Touhou 17, I'm gonna make a video about Touhou 17. Oh boy, I got lots of stuff to talk about Touhou 17 specifically. But yeah, Touhou 16, 17, 18, 19, you see these major flow in design, in gameplay design. And the presentation, don't get me wrong, but the presentation is fantastic. I think the presentation is cool. I think Touhou 17 presentation is amazing. Keiki is cool. Mayumi is cool. The music is amazing. I listen to Touhou 17 OST sometimes. Anyways, now onto the question. Finally, yes. After all of this rambling, which title deserves to be called a masterpiece? Now, if you've ever watched the Dodonpachi Daiojo Reincarnation review by Electric Underground, and I agree with him fully agree with him. Some people find it stupid, but I don't find it stupid. That's actually like, I think the opposite is stupid. I think like he in the beginning he said, let me put in a rule for the internet. If the game releases 10 years have passed, it's like old enough, and it's well received, it's beloved in its community, then you could consider it a masterpiece like Daiojo. And to an extent he mentions that like he's sick of games releasing and are being called masterpieces. He's sick of a 3-day-old game being called a masterpiece upon release. And I agree with that. I like 100% agree with that. And that's my rule. That's my rule. From Touhou 1 to Touhou 14, which game do you consider to be a masterpiece? Which game deserves to be called a masterpiece? Which one is the game? It's the Touhou. I am the Touhou. And in my opinion, that lies within the golden age that I have mentioned earlier. And I keep deducting some games. Remove Touhou 12, remove Touhou 11, remove Touhou 6, and remove Touhou 7. I think one of these two games can be considered a masterpiece in my opinion. Touhou 8 and Touhou 10. One of them. Touhou 6 has a good case, like that has changed the internet forever and that it's beloved by the casuals, but you see how it's hated within the gameplay community. Like people Not many people like Touhou 6. It's not that beloved. Like, people complain about this and that, but in my opinion, I think Touhou 6 is a cool game. I would consider it a masterpiece, but even though it's my favorite, I don't think it deserves to be called a masterpiece now. But it's a close second. It's up there. It's an honorable mention. Same with Touhou 7. Touhou 7 has a pretty amazing presentation with the Yuyuko story and the suicide and the Yukari Yakumo and the hags and such. Just kidding. But Touhou 8 and 10. You notice something about these two? Touhou 8. No, let's get into Touhou 8. Let's see. 222 spell cards. 4 playable characters at the beginning. 8 solo characters. Each differentiated a bit. Sort of a challenge. The meter system at the bottom left. And the objective you gotta fill out. And you got 2 versions of stage 4. And you got 2 paths to choose. Final A and Final B. 2 versions of the final stage. That's a ton of content. I haven't finished it though. You got the familiar system. The familiars, you can manipulate them in a way. And you can play around with how this game works. It's pretty interesting, right? Scoring in it is pretty interesting. It's pretty competitive. It's super hard. At least that's what a fellow player that is much better than me told me. Like, Touhou 8 is a pretty hard scoring system, but in my opinion, I find it approachable in a way. But when it gets to high level, it's super hard. At least just Touhou 8 has the most content. It has tons of stuff. That's my case. That's what I think. That's why I think it's a contender for being the masterpiece. And then you got Touhou 10. And despite its jank, despite its flaws, I accept its flaws. I don't care. I think Touhou 10 gets a thumbs up from me, a masterpiece seal of approval for its simplicity yet depth in scoring system. And I think the score extents just adds on to the scoring system, like shows you the metric of how good you are. You ever try to get the last score extend as soon as possible like me? Try it out. See how far you can get. Like how early you can get the last extend. It's a pretty cool challenge. I do that in Touhou 6 too. Anyways, you got the presentation. It's cool. It's amazing. The pacing of Touhou 10. 23 minutes, 25 minutes of gameplay. That's plenty enough. That's pretty good. That's well paced to me. And the stage design, it's cool. And the shot types, there might be not many spell cards, but the shot types are pretty creative and pretty limited, and you can just keep testing the waters with them and challenging yourself. I'm gonna go play Reimu C today and shit my pants. Or I'm gonna play Marisa C and show my mechanical prowess. Or I wanna chill and play Reimu A. That's cool, right? Like, these 2 games, ignore Touhou 9 in between, 2 games, Touhou 8 and 10, I think these are the highest contenders of being a masterpiece. That's just my opinion. Now, before I finish the video, and we're at the 50-minute mark, comment below. Tell me. I want to hear your thoughts. When was the golden age of Touhou? I'll ask this again, but on my YouTube. When was the golden age of touhou? Which touhou deserves to be called a masterpiece? And what do you like about the golden age you chose? And why do you think this title you chose to be considered the masterpiece? And which is your worst touhou? I want to know. I'm curious. Let's start some fire. Let's start some riots. I want to hear which touhou is your least favorite and why. Comment below. Anyways, adios everyone. See ya. That's Electric Underground's outro.